Good morning, children. Children is English Balabharti of Standard 7. Today we are going to see lesson number 4.3, the red-headed leak. So children, in last video I discussed with you about the first part of this lesson. Now in this video I am going to discuss about the second part, what happened next. So in last part I told you about the prank which was played with Mr. Wilson, and the whole story he shared with Holmes Sherlock. Now, what will happen in next part, that we will see. So for that, all of you have to see on page number 90, part 2, what happened next. Dr. Watson's. So children, now Mr. Wilson told his story to Mr. Holmes and he went. After that, now here the conversation between Mr. Holmes and Mr. Watson. Well, Watson, what do you think of it all? Asked Mr. Holmes after Mr. Wilson had left. I make nothing of it, I answered frankly. Holmes sat silently for some time and then invited me to go out with him. We went to the square where Mr. Wilson had his shop. Holmes observed the area carefully. There were many shops and offices in the square and a bank just behind Mr. Wilson's shop. Holmes spent some time outside the shop and thumped upon the pavement 2 or 3 times. Finally, he knocked on Mr. Wilson's door. A young man opened the door. Mr. Holmes asked him the way to the start. The assistant answered the question and quickly closed the door. Mr. Holmes asked to Dr. Watson that, what do you think of it all? And Watson replied him, I make nothing of it. After that, Mr. Holmes sat silently and then invited to Mr. Watson to go out with him. Both of them went to square where the Mr. Wilson had his shop. When they went, at that time, Holmes spent some time outside the shop and thumped upon pavement. Thumb means hit, strike heavily. Pavement means path for the pedestrians. So he thumped upon it for 2 or 3 times. After that he knocked on Mr. Wilson's door. When he knocked, one young man opened the door. Mr. Holmes asked him the way to Strand. The assistant answered and quickly closed the door. So now here, after listening to Mr. Wilson, Mr. Holmes start his job. He start to find out conclusion. Dr. Watson said, I am sure that you inquired your way only in order to see him. Holmes said, not him, but the knees of his trousers. And what did you see? What I expected to see. This matter of Wilson's is serious. A crime is being planned. But I hope that we can stop it. The offices and banks will be closed for the weekend. Now I have to go and make some arrangements, but I shall want your help tonight. Now Mr. Holmes, he requested to Dr. Watson that whatever I saw, that I will tell you afterwards. But he is confirmed that it is the crime which is planned by criminals. So he told to Dr. Watson that he wanted his help. Now I have to go and make some arrangements, but I shall want your help tonight. Come to Baker Street at 10 and bring your revolver. I arrived at Holmes' residence in time. There were 2 other men with him, Mr. Jones of Scotland Yard and Mr. Merriweather, a banker. Holmes announced, tonight we are going to hunt one of the smartest criminals in London. We left together in carriage and reached the road we had visited in the morning. Holmes told us to follow Mr. Merriweather, who led us through an iron gate. We followed him down a narrow passage. After going down some stone steps, he led us down a dark, earth-smelling passage and into a huge cellar full of big boxes. We all sat on the boxes. Children, now here two another characters are described, Mr. Jones of Scotland Yard and Merriweather, a banker. So Holmes announced them that tonight we are going to hunt one of the smartest criminals in London. And they left together. They reached the road where they visited in the morning. Holmes told them that they will follow Mr. Merriweather, who is a banker. All of them followed him and they went through a narrow passage. All of them reached in a huge cellar which is full of big boxes, and all of them sat on that boxes. We are in the cellar of City branch of one of the main bank in London. Mr. Merriweather is the chairman of the bank, and he will tell you why a criminal should take an interest in this cellar at present, said Holmes. Mr. Merriweather explained that the bank had borrowed a huge quantity of gold from the Bank of France, and boxes in the cellar were full of gold. Mr. Merriweather, he told why the criminal should take an interest in this cellar, because that the bank had borrowed a huge quantity of gold from the Bank of France, and the boxes in the cellar were full of gold, on which boxes all of them were set. Holmes expected the criminals to act that very night. We had to wait there in total darkness without making any noise to take the criminals by surprise. They have but one escape route, whispered Holmes. That is back through Mr. Wilson's house. I hope that some men are waiting at Mr. Wilson's door, Mr. Jones. I have an inspector and two officers waiting at his door. Then we have stopped all the holes. Now we must be silent and wait. Now all of them are waiting for criminals. We waited silently for more than an hour. It was pitch dark in the cellar. Then suddenly a point of bright light appeared in the floor of the cellar. Then a line and a gash seemed to open. Gash means a long deep cut or wound. And a hand appeared. A board stone turned over upon its side and left a square hole. A boyish face emerged. The man looked about and came out of the hole. He had a companion with him, a man with very red hair. The pair was none other than Spaulding, the assistant, the criminal Clay, and the red-headed Mr. Duncan Ross. So children, now you can see that the Spaulding, the assistant of Mr. Wilson, none other than the criminal Clay, and red-headed Mr. Duncan Ross, both of them were the criminals. As soon as they climbed out of the hole, Sherlock Holmes sprang out and seized Clay by the collar. The other dived down the hole and disappeared. Clay took out a revolver, but Holmes hit him on his wrist, and revolver fell on the floor. "It's no use, John Clay," said Holmes. "We have caught you." "So I see. But my friend has escaped." So now Mr. Holmes said to Clay that no use now, we caught you. But at the same time that Clay replied that my friend has escaped. Holmes replied, "He cannot escape. There are 3 men waiting for him at the other end." Then Holmes handed over Mr. Clay to the policeman. Mr. Merriweather said, "Really, Mr. Holmes, I do not know how to thank you. You have foiled one of the most cunning attempts at bank robbery. The bank is grateful to you. When Mr. Holmes, Watson, Holmes said, after we reached his home, John Clay, it was obvious from the first Mr. Merriweather that the only possible object of the strange advertisement Holmes and the peculiar job was to say thank Wilson you because he had foiled one of the most cunning attempt at bank robbery. Now Mr. Holmes discussed with Watson that too. He observed that when that advertisement is read by his assistant, Wilson's assistant, so that job is offered only for Mr. Wilson because his assistant wanted to make a plan of robbery. The Red-Headed League was a clever idea. In Mr. Wilson's absence, Clay and his red-headed companion wanted to dig an underground tunnel from Mr. Wilson's house to the bank. Means when Wilson was going for his job, in that time, Mr. Clay, that robber, and his companion, all of they were digging an underground tunnel from Mr. Wilson's house to the bank. Then they would be able to enter the bank and steal the gold without breaking open the door of the bank. Using the tunnel, they entered the cellar. They planned to steal the gold and go back to Mr. Wilson's house, again through the tunnel, and then get away. But how could you guess what their motive was? So now Mr. Watson was asked to Mr. Holmes that how could he guess what their motive was. So Mr. Holmes told him, when I heard that the assistant worked for half the wages, I became suspicious. Using Mr. Wilson's description of his assistant, I made enquiries. I found that he was the criminal Clay. Why was he working in Mr. Wilson's shop? And his habit of going into the cellar every now and then. I inferred that he must be digging a tunnel to some other building. When we visited the shop, I beat upon the pavement with my stick to find out whether the cellar stretched out in front or behind. It was not in front. I saw the bank on the other side of the house and guessed what the criminals had in mind. When Clay answered the bell, the knees of his trousers were wrinkled and stained. It confirmed my suspicion that he was digging. You know the rest of the story. Isn't it out beautifully? I exclaimed in admiration. So, Mr. Wilson's assistant, Spaulding, and Duncan Rose, both of them were criminal, and in the end, both of them were caught by Mr. Holmes. Very tactfully, he caught them. Children, I hope you understood the story. It was very interesting story, and the end is very beautiful. Now we will discuss about the margin questions. So, all of you have to see on page number 90. The first question is, tell the name of the young man who opened the door to Mr. Holmes. The answer is, the young man who opened the door to Holmes was Vincent Spaulding. Next question is, what did Holmes want to see? Answer is, Holmes wanted to see the knees of Mr. Spaulding's trousers. Third question is, guess where Mr. Merriweather took the others. The answer is, Mr. Merriweather took the others to the huge cellar of the city branch of one of the main banks in London. Now see on page number 91 the next question. How did Mr. Merriweather come to know about the crime? So answer is, Holmes must have told Merriweather about the crime. The next question is, why did Mr. Holmes think the criminals would act that night? So now children, here two guessings are there. The first one is the Red-Headed League had been dissolved. Mr. Wilson could now remain in his house and shop the whole day. This told Holmes that the criminal's plan was ready and in place. And second guessing is that it was weekend. Any crime that took place on Saturday night would not be dissolved till Monday morning, when the bank reopened its gates. This would give the criminals plenty of time to escape. These reasons made Holmes think that the criminals would act that night. See on page number 93. Why did Holmes become suspicious? The answer is, the advertisement of Red-Headed League was strange, and the job offered to Mr. Wilson was peculiar. In addition, the assistant Spaulding worked for the half the wages. He also had the habit of disappearing into the cellar every now and then. All this made Holmes suspicious. Next question is, how did Holmes find out that the assistant was a criminal? Answer is, using Mr. Wilson's description of his assistant, Holmes made enquiries and found that the assistant was a criminal. Next question, how did Holmes guess that he was digging a tunnel? Answer is, when Spaulding answered the door, Holmes saw that the knees of his trousers were wrinkled and stained. He also had the habit of disappearing into the cellar every now and then. When Holmes saw a bank on one side of the Wilson's house, he guessed that the assistants were digging a tunnel. Children, now see on page number 94, language study, synonyms, antonyms and homonyms. We will see what is synonym, what is antonym and what is homonyms. So synonyms are the words from the same language that have the same or more or less the same meaning. For example, good, nice, pretty. Shut, closed, sealed. Intelligent, bright. It means similar words. Next one, that is antonyms. Antonyms are words from the same language that have opposite meaning. For example, strong, weak, right, wrong, hard, soft, up, down. So here opposite words means antonym. And next one, that is homonyms. Homonyms are words that are spelled and pronounced in the same way but have different meaning. For example, round, round. So first round it is an adjective and second one is noun. Second example is walk, walk. Start a collection of synonym, antonyms and homonyms. Collect at least 50 each and write down examples in your grammar notebook. I hope you understood. Thank you students. Have a nice day. Bye bye.